While handing out flyers, I saw my girlfriend, Natalie, disheveled in the sports car, passionately kissing the school heartthrob. When I knocked on the car window, the heartthrob asked her, "Who's this?" Natalie nestled in his arms and said, "Just some pathetic simp. I'll break up with him right now if you say the word." After kissing him, she walked away without even glancing at me. The school heartthrob licked his lips where my girlfriend had kissed him and sneered, "Get lost. Beauties only belong to the strong." I asked, "The girlfriend doesn't matter, but why are you sitting in my car?" The atmosphere froze. The heartthrob gripped the steering wheel, staring blankly at me. "What do you mean your car?" "This is my car." I opened the driver's side storage compartment and pulled out the vehicle registration. "See, my name's on it. Why are you sitting in my car? Stealing it, huh? I'm calling the police right now." The school heartthrob flushed crimson. He quickly got out of the car and approached me, whispering, "Don't call the police. My dad's a mechanic. I just borrowed the car because it looked nice. Please don't report me." I widened my eyes and raised my voice. "You call this borrowing? This is theft. Does working in a repair shop give you the right to steal cars people bring in for maintenance?" The school heartthrob hung his head and muttered, "Sorry, bro." I sighed helplessly. "Don't try to get chummy. Let me check the car first." He didn't dare speak, and I soon discovered a dent on the car's hood. I snapped impatiently. "What happened?" The campus heartthrob panicked and quickly explained, "It's not my fault. Your girlfriend insisted on sitting on the hood to take selfies earlier and posted a bunch of flirty photos on social media. Here's the proof." I checked my phone, but saw nothing. The school heartthrob quickly showed me his phone. It turned out Natalie had blocked me. Looking at the social media post, I clicked my tongue and said, "Such bold photos. All right, let's go back. We'll keep these as evidence. You two better prepare for court summons." The heartthrob was dumbfounded and whispered, "Bro, will this cost a lot of money?" I said, "Probably over 100,000. In an instant, his face turned deathly pale. The campus heartthrob quickly protested, "But she's the one who broke it by sitting on it. Why should I have to pay too?" I rolled my eyes helplessly. "Don't you know the law? You're jointly liable. Your dad's earnings this year just went up in smoke." The school heartthrob, supposedly a real man, burst into tears on the spot. "That damn bitch. I told her it's carbon skin. Only high-end sports cars have it. The hotter it gets, the harder it becomes. But she couldn't wait for the car to warm up before sitting on it for selfies. Do you know how hard my parents work? She's ruined everything." I impatiently got into my own car and called for a damage assessment, having no interest in watching him cry. Wiping his tears, the heartthrob wailed, "How come you're the rich one? Your girlfriend said you work part-time handing out flyers for all those shops." I replied, "I don't work part-time, though I do hand out flyers. Those shops are all mine." I'm not lying. Half the pedestrian street on campus with 72 shops, my family owns one of them. What's wrong with handing out flyers for my own family shop? I rolled up the car window, couldn't be bothered to listen to the campus heartthrob cry. Just then, Natalie texted me, "Since you've seen it, let's break up. Don't blame me. Blame your useless parents. I'd rather cry in a Lamborghini than laugh on your flyer distributing bicycle." I fell into deep thought. Since both the Lamborghini and the bicycle are mine, should she be crying or laughing? I wanted to reply, "Wait for the court summons," but Natalie had already blocked me. My God, how could she block me? Just the repair fees alone. She owes me 100,000 yuan. I didn't care that this was the girls' dormitory and barged right in, rushing straight to Natalie's room. Fortunately, it was still morning, so there weren't many people in the dorm. When I reached her door and was about to knock, I suddenly heard a woman inside ask, "Did you really do what I told you to?" Then I heard Natalie reply, "Yes, I lied and told him I took the medicine." The woman said excitedly, "That's a great opportunity. I specifically tracked your menstrual cycle and timed it, so you'd be most fertile these 2 days. That's why I set up the date. Once you're pregnant, you'll marry into wealth." Natalie asked worriedly, "What if he makes me get an abortion?" The woman replied, "Once you're pregnant, I have plenty of ways to make him acknowledge the child. You even broke up with your boyfriend for him. Let's see if he dares deny it." I truly never expected Natalie would play such a high-stakes game. Did she actually think she could trap the school heartthrob in a marriage by getting pregnant? I wonder what expression she'll make when she finds out the heartthrob stole my car. I knocked on Natalie's door. When she saw me, her brows instantly furrowed in displeasure. She said, "I've already broken up with you. Why are you still harassing me? Let me tell you, being poor isn't the worst thing, but being poor, shameless, and clingy towards girls is truly disgusting." Apparently Natalie had misunderstood. She thought I was here to win her back. There were 2 other people in the dorm room, her roommates, both of whom I knew. Before I could speak, one of the roommates said, "Could you please stop getting in the way of Xiaoying pursuing her own happiness?" I stood there completely dumbfounded. So kissing another man in a sports car behind your boyfriend's back counts as pursuing your own happiness? I know this roommate. She's Natalie's best friend, Maria. She was the one who just urged Natalie to get pregnant. Back when Natalie and I first got together, Maria often made sarcastic remarks, like how a man's love for a girl depends on how much money he spends on her. It was because of Maria's constant encouragement that I gave Natalie so many gifts. Now I'm here to take them all back. I said, "We can break up, but the phone was bought by me. You should return it." I didn't directly mention that the sports car was mine, because with Natalie's personality, she'd likely cling to me shamelessly. I had to reclaim what belonged to me first. Natalie immediately furrowed her brows and said coldly, "So you're actually this petty? Can't you even consider my feelings?" I was speechless. It's not that I'm petty. The point is you've already betrayed me. So why should I care about your feelings? Maria suddenly covered her mouth and laughed. She said, can't you see through this poor man's scheme? Asking you to return the gifts is just an excuse. He's actually trying to make things difficult for you because he can't bear to break up. Natalie sneered. So that's it. You thought I wouldn't break up with you just because I couldn't bear to return it, didn't you? Did you forget that my current man is loaded? She lifted her chin haughtily, and Maria seized the moment to fan the flames. Don't back down, sis. I just checked. The school heartthrob's Lamborghini costs millions. Buying you a new phone is pocket change for him. Natalie laughed and said, I'll return the phone, but let me make one last call first. I'll show you right now why I'm breaking up with you. Because the gap between you and the wealthy is so vast you'll never bridge in your lifetime. I wondered if the wealthy man she was talking about was the school heartthrob. I remember when I took my car to the school heartthrob's house for maintenance. His father sighed and said money was hard to come by these days, and what he earned wasn't enough to pay the rent. Natalie made a phone call, and Maria quickly said, put it on speakerphone so he can hear it and understand the gap between himself and others. Natalie nodded, seemingly to show off, and turned on speakerphone. As soon as the call connected, she said in a pitiful voice, Brother, my boyfriend came to break up with me, and he even wants me to return his phone. Without a phone, how am I supposed to contact you in the future? However, the campus heartthrob didn't indulge her. The campus heartthrob's furious curses came through the phone. You bitch, don't let me see you again, or I'll beat you up every time I see you. In that instant, both Natalie and Maria were stunned. The call was abruptly ended. Natalie stared at her phone, unable to utter a single word. Maria quickly reacted. Furious, she grabbed a book from her bed and hurled it at me, shouting, were you bad-mouthing my best friend downstairs? Natalie trembled with rage upon hearing this. Exactly. He wasn't like this with me earlier. You must have been spreading lies about me. You're so vile, you disgust me. I snapped impatiently. I didn't say anything bad about you. Give me back my things now. If he didn't badmouth me, why would he suddenly treat me like this? I was completely speechless. All because Natalie was sitting on the hood of the car taking flirty selfies. The school heartthrob ended up with tens of thousands in debt. With his family's meager income, how could he not be furious? Maria sneered. That's why I told you before to be bold and date the school heartthrob. I could tell early on this loser was all talk and no action. Only knows how to scheme behind people's backs. Disgusting. What a turnoff. I asked, are you saying you were involved in her betrayal of me before, right? Maria snapped. Betrayal? Well, my best friend was stuck in a quagmire. Of course, I had to pull her out. Should I have let her sink to marrying you? She'll thank me for the rest of her life. Natalie grew impatient and said coldly, I can return your phone, but on one condition. You must go apologize to the school heartthrob immediately and admit you were spreading nonsense. Maria shouted, exactly. Even if you have to kneel while apologizing, you must clear my best friend's name. I took the phone and continued. Why should I apologize for something I didn't do? Besides, we still have unfinished business. I walked straight into the room and sat down at the desk to start settling accounts. Since we started dating, all the gifts I gave Natalie and the money I transferred, I wanted her to pay back every last cent. Natalie said disappointedly, all my friends are here. At least we loved each other once. Are you really going to make me lose face like this? I couldn't be bothered with her and went back to my calculations. Maria suddenly took a photo of me. With a look of utter disdain, she said, today, I've really met the bottom of the barrel. I'm posting this on Moments right now to expose you. I'll make sure you die, socially. I thought she was just threatening me, but when I checked my phone, I realized she'd actually posted it on Moments. She posted my photo with the caption, OMG girls, never date a broke man. The poorer they are, the more drama they bring. My bestie got stuck with one, so scary. I frowned and said, why do you keep bringing up poor people when this is between us? You might as well write money grubber on your forehead. Maria sneered. That's right, I do like rich men. Who are you to be jealous? If you were wealthy, you'd be the one lecturing me right now, not me yelling at you. Take a good look at yourself. What have you even accomplished? Maria grew more agitated as she spoke, walking to the window and pointing downstairs. She said, wealthy men drive Lamborghinis worth millions, their minds filled with ambition and drive. But broke losers just sit here counting pennies, making the girls who once loved them sick to their stomachs. Another roommate finally couldn't hold back anymore. Xiaoying, maybe you should return all the money to him. You were in the wrong about this from the start. In an instant, Natalie's expression changed. Natalie asked, what do you mean by that? You're taking a side against me. Maria sneered. Isn't it obvious? You found a boyfriend who drives a Lamborghini, and she's just jealous, so she has to insult you deliberately, slander you. The roommate immediately flushed red with anger. Don't make baseless accusations against me. I knew this girl. She was a financially struggling student at our school, named Eva. Back then, Natalie had asked me to buy desserts for everyone in her dorm to show off. Only Eva refused to accept them, saying she couldn't take things from others without reason and shouldn't accept gifts carelessly. Because of this incident, she left a deep impression on me. Natalie sighed and said, Eva, I know your family is poor and you rely on student loans and scholarships to study. I understand why you resent the wealthy, but do you know what's more important than grades? It's being a decent person. Eva widened her eyes in disbelief and asked, are you saying I'm not a decent person? I was completely stunned too. Eva is diligent and studious. excelling both in character and academics. And what about Natalie? She was just sitting in the car, passionately kissing the wealthy man of her dreams right in front of me, her boyfriend. And she dares to say Eva doesn't know how to behave? What kind of nonsense is she spouting? Maria sneered coldly. I know your type, a broke-ass girl like you. You heard he was single and tried to act all innocent to win his favor. You know damn well you're not fit to even breathe the same air as a man who drives a Lamborghini, so you cling to some flyer distributing guy making $3,000 a month. Eva clenched her fists in anger, standing up as she retorted, I work part-time tutoring. I make $2,000 a month myself. Maria scoffed disdainfully. To you, even a mosquito's leg counts as meat. Yesterday, I saw you picking up rice that fell on the table and eating it. A cheap, pathetic girl like you wouldn't be picky about men. Eva's eyes instantly reddened, her voice trembling with hurt. It fell on the table, not the floor. What's so pathetic about that? Enough! Natalie roared, cutting off our conversation. She slammed her phone onto the table and said to me, you've completely humiliated me. The biggest regret of my life was dating you. Let's settle our accounts right now, then I'll go explain everything to my new boyfriend. Maria quickly chimed in. Don't worry, sis. I'll go with you to explain. Once the rumors are cleared up, you'll still be your sugar daddy's little princess. I couldn't be bothered with these two anymore and focused on calculating the accounts properly. Of course, I didn't include the sport car's repair fees. I was afraid Natalie would shamelessly beg to get back together. In the end, I finally calculated it clearly. Over our 1-year relationship, all the transfers and small gifts added up to 18,000 yuan. After working out this sum, I was completely dumbfounded. So dating cost this much money. I only spent a few $100 on living expenses each month myself. What a shock when you actually do the math. Not just me, even Natalie and Maria were stunned. After all, they're just students. Where would they get over 10,000 yuan? At first, they refused to believe it and recalculated several times before finally confirming my numbers were correct. Natalie immediately looked troubled. 18,000. I can't come up with that much right now. Maria grew anxious and quickly said, don't back down now, sis. I'll help you pay it back. How you handle this loser now will determine how the campus heartthrob sees you. Even if we have to borrow from loan sharks, we'll get the money. Cut ties with this broke guy as soon as possible. Only then will you have a chance to marry into wealth. In the end, Natalie wavered because of Maria's words. She nodded and said, all right, let's figure out how to borrow some money first. My family can't find out or my parents will kill me. I don't know what to say. If her parents would kill her over 10,000, then when the nearly 100,000 yuan repair bill gets sent to her house, wouldn't they grind her bones to dust? Natalie and Maria immediately started contacting people to borrow money, and surprisingly, they found it remarkably easy. The classmates chipped in, some contributing a few hundred, others a few hundred, all lending money to Natalie. Natalie herself thought the money came too easily, and she couldn't help saying, I'm usually quite popular. Everyone is willing to lend me money. Maria laughed. Because of the selfies you post on social media, you're sitting in a sport car worth millions. Of course people are happy to lend you small amounts. Natalie suddenly understood. She glanced at me and said, do you see? This is the real charm of a man. It makes everyone worship him and lend me money, just hoping to befriend him. If I were still with you, would anyone reach out to help me when I'm in trouble? Maria sneered. Facing difficulties? Being with him is already the greatest disaster of my life. They kept borrowing money and finally managed to get over 8,000 yuan. But there was still a 10,000 yuan gap. Maria gritted her teeth and said, I know someone from the underworld who can lend me the money, but if we can't pay it back when the time comes, it'll be terrible. Natalie asked with some concern, what happens if we can't pay it back? Maria said, don't worry about that for now. Your new boyfriend is so rich, 10,000 yuan is nothing to him. Maria quickly contacted the so-called social connections. It was obvious the person was likely a professional private lender, handing over 10,000 yuan without hesitation. After they pooled the money together to repay me, Natalie threw her phone at me and snapped. Are you satisfied now? Get lost. From now on, we're done. No more contact ever again. I nodded, then turned to Eva and said, come outside with me for a moment. Eva looked at me in surprise, as if she didn't understand why I was calling her. Maria immediately sneered. I told you these two had something going on. The moment you paid them back, they immediately got cozy. I felt helpless. The reason I wanted to talk to Eva was because she worked in the student council. She had everyone's contact list. Since I wanted to send a court summons to Natalie's family, I definitely needed her home address. Eva blushed crimson and lowered her head as we walked out together. Maria mocked again. You're really following him out? You're only worthy of second-hand goods that ain't discarded. Eva was nearly in tears. I don't have that kind of thought at all. Maria yelled, you fake innocent bitch. Keep pretending. No wonder your family's so poor. It's in your genes. Look at you, even sucking up to a flyer distributor. You're so desperate you take anything, which shows exactly what kind of trash your parents are. Natalie gave us a scornful look and sneered. Thank goodness I broke up with him. You can have this worthless man. Let me leave you with this. A whore and a dog make a perfect match. May you last forever. I led Eva out of the dorm room and into the hallway. Eva whispered. I only spoke up because I couldn't stand it. Don't overthink it. I just want to focus on studying right now. I don't mean what they implied. I nodded and said, I know. Between scholarships and tutoring, when would you even have time for a relationship? Eva asked curiously. Then what did you need me for? I replied, I know you have a class contact list. Could you give me Natalie's home address? Eva immediately grew anxious upon hearing this. What are you planning? Don't do anything reckless. She seemed so anxious that she actually grabbed my hand. Eva looked into my eyes and said earnestly, we may be poor, but we have our dignity. The fault lies with others. Don't throw away your future because of someone else's mistakes. The atmosphere fell silent. I didn't know how to respond to her. Did this girl really think I was going to take Natalie's family down with me? Eva suddenly realized she had grabbed my hand in her haste and quickly let go, blushing as she said, you're so hard-working and determined. You deserve a better life. I believe in 10 years, Xiao Ying will regret her choice. I replied, no need to wait 10 years. I've already had the 4S shop assess the damages. If her family lives in the city, she'll regret it immediately. Eva froze and asked me what I meant. I said the sports car downstairs was mine. She stared at me blankly, dumbfounded. I explained the whole situation to Eva. She was stunned again and only believed it was real after I showed her the vehicle registration certificate. When Eva went to get the contact book, she walked as if floating, probably still thinking she was in a dream. Soon, she sent me Natalie's home address, and surprisingly, it was just a few kilometers away from the 4S dealership. What a coincidence, right? I called the 4S dealership, and they told me they'd send the damage assessment over within 10 minutes. Wait, it suddenly occurred to me. Natalie returned my phone. How was I supposed to contact her when I pressed for the debt later? I'd better return it to her for now. I went back to Natalie's dorm again. When she saw me return, she snapped. Why are you back? I said, I know you don't have a phone, so I'll lend you mine for a couple days. Maria immediately clutched her chest and pretended to gag. I'm gonna puke. Everything I predicted came true. This cringy guy is totally doing it on purpose, playing this breakup makeup game with you. Natalie broke down. Do you really think I'm an idiot? Can you stop pestering me? You're making me lose face in front of my friends. Just then, Maria's phone rang. Maria took out her phone and said in confusion, That's strange, Xiao Ying. Why are your parents calling me? I froze. The 4S shop works fast. It seems Natalie's parents couldn't reach her, so they immediately contacted Maria. Natalie took the phone and asked, Mom, what's wrong? This time Natalie didn't put on speakerphone, but we could still hear her mother's furious roar loud and clear. Don't call me Mom. Do you know how little your father and I earn? You've ruined our family. The sudden scolding left Natalie dumbfounded. She quickly asked, Mom, did I cause any trouble? Natalie hugged her phone and walked to the corner of the dorm room. As she talked, she suddenly burst into loud sobs. Maria hurriedly asked, Sis, what's wrong? Natalie cried. Now I know why the campus heartthrob suddenly got mad at me. I dented his car when I sat on it, and now he's demanding my family pay for it. The estimated cost is 137,000 yuan. Where would my family get that kind of money? Maria was also stunned. How is that possible? They just dent from sitting on it. The bill was sent to my house. My mom said she took a photo of the bill and sent it to me, telling me to check my phone. Natalie couldn't even stand steady and simply collapsed onto the bed. Maria gritted her teeth and said, Don't panic yet. I might have a way. Natalie asked, What solution could you possibly have? Maria replied, At this point, we can only wait to see if you're pregnant. If you're carrying his child, how could he possibly have the nerve to ask you for car repair fees? Upon hearing this, Natalie immediately nodded repeatedly. She said, Exactly. Even if he won't consider my feelings, he'll have to consider the child's, right? Maria said excitedly, If he dares ask you for car repair fees, we'll go make a scene at his house. Natalie sighed deeply. I originally thought I could marry into wealth with the baby in my belly. Who knew all I'd get is some car repair money? Maria comforted her. Over 100,000 isn't bad. It would take your parents 2 years to earn that much. Besides, who says you can't still marry rich? Maybe his parents will insist you two get married later. Then forget repair fees. They might even gift you a car. I thought to myself, since we loved each other after all, should I warn Natalie about her being pregnant with the school heartthrob's child? This really shouldn't make my parents waive the car repair fees. I started to say, but before I could say anything, Natalie shot me a vicious glare. She walked up to me, snatched my phone away, and said, Don't speak right now. Get lost. I don't want to hear your voice. I'm already in a terrible mood. Maria also said to me impatiently, Yeah, can you just get lost? We're trying to figure out how to calm the school heartthrob down. I said awkwardly, How about you look at the documents first? Maria yelled at me, Get lost already. You creep. We have nothing to say to you. If you keep bothering my Xiao Ying, we'll sue you for harassment. See you in court. I nodded. Since you put it that way, I might as well drop it. We were going to meet in court anyway. Natalie had already picked up her phone and sent a voice message to the campus heartthrob. Please, I beg you, come to my dorm, okay? I want to talk to you, please. The heartthrob replied quickly. She tapped the voice message, and I heard his voice. Sure, bitch. I want to talk to you too. Get your ass downstairs now. Natalie put down her phone and said worriedly to Maria, With that attitude, will he really forgive me? Maria said, Let's go beg him first. I'll go with you to plead with him. Maria helped Natalie up and glared at me. A good dog doesn't block the way. I couldn't be bothered with her, and turned to leave the dorm. Just as I was about to go downstairs, Eva had already returned. Natalie and Maria walked around Eva and went ahead of us. She saw me and whispered, "Are you going to make Xiaoying pay you a lot of money?" I said, "Of course I wouldn't scam anyone. They should pay what's fair, but I was just thinking." Eva asked, "Thinking what?" I said, "Seems like they're begging the wrong person. Won't this get awkward later?" When we arrived downstairs, the campus heartthrob was already there. Most importantly, there was a slap mark on the campus heartthrob's face. He was sobbing and wiping his tears by the roadside. If I'm not mistaken, he must have already told his father about this incident and received some fatherly love as firm as a mountain education from him. Natalie and Maria were both dumbfounded when they saw this situation. Maria said, "Is it really that bad? His family is so wealthy. Does he need to make such a fuss?" Natalie replied, "Maybe he truly loves that car. When I went on dates with him, every single thing he did was to protect it." Maria sighed. "They say a car is a man's second wife. Turns out it's true." I roll my eyes. I certainly don't have the habit of treating cars like wives. And how could he not protect it? That's my car. Natalie quickly moved closer, putting on a pitiful act as she pleaded, "Baby, let me explain." "Explain my ass, you damn bitch." The campus heartthrob finally couldn't contain his breakdown any longer. He rushed forward, grabbed Natalie by the hair, and slapped her hard across the face. Natalie and Maria probably never expected the campus heartthrob to resort to physical violence. Maria rushed to intervene, while Natalie tearfully pleaded, "Baby, if you're upset, just hit me instead. It's all my fault. I'll never do it again. Can I spend the rest of my life making it up to you? I don't need your damn apologies." The furious heartthrob kept punching Natalie's face repeatedly. When his fists started flying, both Natalie and Maria realized things had taken a dangerous turn. The classmates present were all dumbfounded. Just moments ago, Natalie had stepped out of the sports car amidst the envious gazes of her peers. Yet now, in front of so many people, she was being held by the hair by the school heartthrob, who was punching her face repeatedly. Maria shouted anxiously, "You're hitting her too hard. She's a girl." The school heartthrob was really too rough. He actually knocked out Natalie's front tooth. Natalie was missing a front tooth. Covering her mouth, she spat out a mouthful of blood in disbelief. She quickly bent down to pick up the tooth, crying hysterically, "Stop hitting me. My tooth got knocked out. Maria, go get some milk quickly." I nodded and said, "That's really smart. When a tooth falls out, you should indeed put it in milk right away, so it might be reattached." Eva turned her head and said to me foolishly, "Are you gloating over my misfortune?" I replied, "How could that be? After all, we once loved each other." Seeing her like this makes me sad too. Eva asked, "Then why are you smiling?" I said, "I was born with a smile. People who smile often tend to have better luck." At this moment of being beaten, Natalie finally remembered me again. Covering her mouth, she shouted at me indignantly, "You're really not a man? I'm being beaten like this, and you won't even help me." I said seriously, "You both just told me not to harass you, or we'd see each other in court." The school heartthrob must have been too distraught earlier. It wasn't until I spoke that he finally noticed me. He let go of Natalie and walked toward me. Maria hurriedly said, "School hunk, I know you're upset, but do you know how much Xiaoying has suffered for you? Just now, this loser was bullying her the whole time. If it weren't for her deep love for you, would she have had to endure such humiliation?" The school hunk angrily shouted, "Shut up, your whole family are losers." Maria didn't dare to speak anymore. How strange. Just moments ago, she was putting on such a haughty display in front of me. Yet now, facing the wealthy man of her dreams, she suddenly becomes so docile. The campus heartthrob approached me. I was wondering how he planned to apologize, but then he made a decision I never saw coming. Right in front of all these people, he suddenly dropped to his knees. Tears streaming down his face, the heartthrob sobbed, "Bro, I'm sorry. Please, have mercy on me." At this moment, the world seemed to fall silent. Everyone was staring at me in stunned silence. The classmates were dumbfounded. Maria trembled in disbelief. Eva remained silent, her head bowed low. Natalie covered her mouth, missing a front tooth, when suddenly blood started flowing from her nostrils. She sucked it back hard, but accidentally choked on it, coughing painfully a few times. It seemed no one had anticipated the situation would suddenly turn out like this. To be honest, even I hadn't expected it. I sighed and said, "If I'd known it would come to this, why did I ever start?" Maria asked blankly, "Why are you apologizing to him?" I said softly, "Yes, tell everyone, why are you apologizing to me?" The school heartthrob cried and said, "I shouldn't have stolen your car to show off. I shouldn't have stolen your girlfriend. I'm despicable. I'm disgusting. I beg you to forgive me." I went back and told my dad, but he said the family has long been crushed by shop rent and can't afford to compensate you. I nodded and said, "Your father has it hard. It's precisely because I knew how hard he works that I sent my car to your family's repair shop for maintenance. Who would have thought such an honest and diligent old master would raise a son like this?" The school heartthrob cried out in despair, "I'll never dare again. Just give me some time to pay back this money. I'll do anything you say." Natalie stood frozen in shock. She murmured, "What repair shop? What car maintenance? What stolen car?" I said, "Isn't the truth already right in front of you?" Natalie pointed to the sports car, her voice trembling. "That's actually your car?" I nodded and said, "Yes, it's mine." Her expression froze. Then her lips quivered before she burst into tears again with a wail. How could the rich one be you? Aren't you just a flyer distributor? I do distribute flyers, but those are all my stores. Natalie ignored her bleeding nose and front teeth. She scrambled to her feet, limped over to me, grabbed my arm, and sobbed, "Baby, please let me explain." I said coldly, "I'm not your baby. We've already broken up." I reached out and placed my hand on the school heartthrob's shoulder. The heartthrob swallowed hard, looking at me with pleading eyes. I said, "This is your fault, not your father's. Actually, you've done me a favor by helping me see my girlfriend's true colors. Since you've helped me, I'll help you once too." After some thought, I continued, "You'll graduate next year. Agree on the compensation amount with them. And after you graduate and start earning your own money, I'll allow you to repay it in 3 installments." The campus heartthrob asked excitedly, "Really?" I nodded and said, "Yes, the mistake you made shouldn't be paid for by your father. But about you knocking out her front teeth, you might have to pay quite a bit for that too." The school heartthrob said viciously, "I won't pay a single cent. At worst, I'll get detained and have a record. It's not like I could pass the civil service exam anyway." I asked, "You'd really rather be detained than pay her even a penny?" The heartthrob replied, "Damn right. A bitch like her isn't worth compensating." I gave him a hearty pat on the shoulder and laughed loudly. "See, you're being sensible now. I'll knock 10,000 off your debt. Consider it your reward." Natalie beside them was completely dumbfounded. She sobbed, "Baby, I was really wrong. Can you give me another chance?" It was all. Natalie quickly turned and pointed at Maria, shouting, "It was all this bitch's fault." Maria didn't respond, her face frozen in shock. Natalie cried, "It was you who made me do this. I love my boyfriend so much. Why did I fall for your tricks? I couldn't be bothered to watch her monkey show." I said, "Remember to take the morning after pill. Don't actually get pregnant. I'm not saying this out of concern for you. I just know that with your character, you'd definitely abort if you got pregnant. I don't want an innocent life to be snuffed out by your rotten morals before it even gets to see the world." At that moment, Natalie's face turned ashen. Maria suddenly burst into tears. Maria said, "The money I just borrowed for you, you're not going to pay me back, are you?" Natalie completely dropped all pretense. "You've ruined me. Why should I pay you back?" Maria also broke down sobbing. "I have to pay that money back, or I'll be beaten to death." I casually remarked, "If you're too scared to owe money to loan sharks, then just pay it back, no?" Maria cried again. "Where would my family get $10,000 from?" Eva clenched her fists in anger. She fumed. "You mocked me for eating food that fell on the table. But your own family doesn't even have $10,000 either. You're poor yourself, so why bully the poor? You deserve this." Maria plopped down on the ground and burst into loud sobs. I smiled at Natalie and said, "Goodbye. Unless it's about repaying the money, don't contact me again or I'll sue you for harassment." I then turned to Eva and asked, "Since that bitch has been dealt with, how about grabbing a meal to celebrate? You can ride in my car." Eva replied, "Are you drunk in broad daylight? Why would I get in your car? Why would I eat with you?" I thought about it and realized she was right, awkwardly scratching my nose. I got into my sports car and drove off in a huff. Natalie and the school heartthrob's families quickly reached an agreement. Each family would pay half the compensation. Rumor has it Natalie got beaten half to death by her parents at home, even having her leg broken. This was no exaggeration. She really did have her legs broken, complete with plaster casts. The key issue was that it hadn't healed properly. He walked with a limp. Rumor had it they have to re-break the bone, otherwise it would never recover properly. Perhaps she felt too ashamed. In her final year of university, she stopped attending classes altogether. Maria still came to campus, but every time she showed up, people would mock her, calling her the traitor who betrayed the working class. To repay the loan sharks, Maria tried desperately to find work. But after her story spread, everyone despised her. No shop dared hire her. I said, "Probably around 100,000 or so." Well then, since I happened to own a few budget restaurants, I had her go clean the toilets. Wasn't she the one who looked down on poor people? So I made her scrub toilets for the poor. She could only weep while cleaning toilets, and the news spread everywhere that she had been reduced to scrubbing toilets. Some classmates even went out of their way to come by, just to use the toilet after she cleaned it, forcing her to clean it again. After Natalie dropped out, she often messaged me, begging me to get back together with her. Every time I blocked her, she would just use a new number to keep harassing me. In the end, I did as she wished and sued her. She was finally so scared that she never dared to contact me again. As for Eva and me, nothing really happened between us. She was a self-reliant and disciplined girl, different from Natalie and the others. Eva never contacted me during our final year of university. After graduation, she returned to her hometown to teach as part of a volunteer program. She said there were many underprivileged children in her hometown, and she wanted to do her part for them. I quite admired her character and reached out to her a few times, but she genuinely had no interest in romance. The only time she contacted me was to ask if I could help organize donations of unwanted clothing for the mountain regions. I donated some old clothes, and after that we never contacted each other again. I often recall her words, that one should have dignity in life. That remarkable girl, I hope her life takes her even further. The end.